I remember laughter, rough, tired, but real. A cigarette passed hand to hand, smoke curling as if nothing outside could touch us. Jackson tapped his lighter, click, click, grinning wide. Diaz sat quiet, scar pale in lamplight. For a moment we felt untouchable. The map lay flat, clean lines, red arrows. In and out, they said. Paper never warned us of thirst or of shadows waiting. Boots thudded, steady, rifles oiled sharp. We were brothers more than soldiers, bound by sweat, bruises, promises, whispered at night. I carried their trust like weight on my shoulders. Heavy, yes, but I believed it would hold, that it would carry us through. The desert rose quiet, endless. We joked to mask fear, bad jokes, broken laughs. Still in that silence we felt alive. I didn't know it was the last good moment. Didn't know thirst would claw my throat, or that wings would scream above us. Jackson would fall, Diaz would vanish, and I would be left counting footsteps alone. A ghost dragging shadows behind me. Survival came but hollow. My scars live not on skin, they breathe in silence, in whispers, in the weight of memory. And so I tell this not for victory, not for glory, but because I am the last one left. And silence should not be my only witness. Jackson's grin, reckless, wide, a shield against fear. He smiled as if death itself might pause uncertain at the edge of our camp. Diaz spoke little, silence his weapon. In the weight of that quiet, I felt steadier, like his stillness could hold back the storm. Training bruised us, broke us, but bound us tighter. Sweat, grit, and sleepless nights forged us into something harder than orders. To me, they weren't soldiers, not names on a roster. They were my brothers, stitched to me by fire hunger and shared scars. The pack carved lines into my shoulders, straps biting. Yet each mark was proof I carried them and they carried me. Jackson tapped his daughter's photo again. Each touch was a bargain, a whispered promise to return alive. Diaz's scar, jagged down his jaw, told no story aloud. It spoke anyway, survival etched into flesh, memory carved in silence. Trust was not on paper, not in maps. It lived in nods at dawn, boots, keeping rhythm in dust, eyes that never looked away. The mission map gleamed, red arrows, crisp lines. Ink pretending chaos could be ordered, pretending death could be neat. In and out, they said. 2 words harmless on paper, but sharp in reality. We swallowed them like bitter medicine. Risks, bullet points in tidy font. As if bullets fire, death itself could be listed like equipment filed and forgotten. We nodded anyway. Not because belief lived in us, but because obedience was bone-deep drilled until nothing else fit. Hope clung like sweat, thin, salty, burning. Fragile as smoke, but pressed to our skin as if it could shield us. On paper, the plan was flawless, lines perfect. But ink bleeds, and in sand, even perfect lines vanish in seconds. Rifle oil and dust filled my lungs, metallic sharp. The smell of readiness, the taste of violence waiting unseen. I told myself if the plan said so, it must be true. Lies dressed as orders weigh less than truths carried in silence. Jackson leaned back, boots up, grin, sharp, humming off key. His tune mocked the silence, daring it to sing back. Diaz's hands clicked buckles again steady, prayerful. Each sound was discipline, but also faith in disguise. My chest buzzed with nerves, the pack biting deeper. Dust clung to my tongue, copper bitter, the flavor of dread. The briefing ended. Silence dropped like a hammer, thick, suffocating. It dared us to breathe, dared us to move. I unfolded my letter, creased, fading. Words memorized, but my eyes craved proof that love was still written somewhere. Jackson cracked a joke, broken, clumsy. We laughed, not because it was funny, but because laughter still made us human. Diaz smirked, faint, fleeting. That flicker of warmth carried more weight than every polished word on the map. The sky stretched, pale, fragile, unaware of what would stain it. A blank canvas waiting for us to paint it red. I knelt, tightened my boots, already tight. Rituals gave us control, even if that control was nothing but illusion. The rifle lay cold across my lap, steel heavy, honest. Steel doesn't lie, doesn't promise. It only waits, patient. Our breaths tangled in the tent, uneven, anxious. Many lungs, one rhythm stitched together by fear and need. The plan sweated in my pocket, paper, softening edges, bleeding. Paper dies fast, but we clung to it as gospel. Outside, the generator hummed steady, steady. A false heartbeat pretending the world wasn't sharpening its teeth. Tobacco curled sweet, then bitter. Jackson exhaled slow, savoring, unknowingly giving his last piece to the night. His lighter's flame lit his face. orange flicker vanish. One snapshot etched deeper than any photograph could last. Diaz pressed a canteen into my hand, water cool, pure. I didn't know it was the last taste of purity I'd ever feel. Shoulders bumped, no words, no sound. A vow carved into bone. I'll be there when you fall. Silent, unshakable. My last good moment, their warmth, their breath, their laughter. For one heartbeat, I believed none of us would fall. Then silence cracked, certainty shattered. Paper dissolved in heat, and hope, fragile hope, was the first to die. The desert stretched endless heat, shimmered, horizon bent. Each step dragged heavier than the last sun, hammering our skulls as if the world wanted us erased. Sand ground beneath our boots, biting ankles raw. The wind carried dust like shards of glass, each gust cutting skin, whispering thirst we could not quiet. Jackson stopped humming the tune he always carried, died. His smile cracked thin as old paint and fear leaked out like water from a broken flask. Diaz scanned the horizon, jaw-clenched scar shining pale. He didn't speak, but his silence pressed heavier than any shouted warning ever could. The map promised 3 days, but our canteens sloshed lower, too low. Each swallow burned with guilt like stealing life from my brothers. At night, no generator hum, only wind moaning over dunes. In the silence I heard fragments, sounds too human, too close, yet no one was there. A shimmer twisted the horizon, shifting, swaying. When I blinked, it was gone. Mirage or shadow, I couldn't tell, and that uncertainty clawed at me. The air tasted wrong, metallic thick. My tongue, swollen lips splitting. Every breath dragged dust into my lungs like smoke from an unseen fire. Jackson tried a joke voice, cracked mid-sentence. We laughed anyway, a desperate laugh hollow, feeding on itself to hide what we felt. Diaz handed me the map. His finger traced a line too straight, too clean. His eyes said the rest, something about this path was already broken. Silence spread among us, not peaceful, not calm. It was sharp, brittle, stretched thin like wire, ready to snap without warning. We stumbled upon a burned-out truck, steel-twisted seats melted. The desert had already swallowed men before us, leaving nothing but charred bones. The smell clung ash oil, something sweeter rotting. I pressed cloth over my mouth, but the stench crawled into my skin, refusing to leave. I touched the wreck's metal, blistering hot skin, seared. A reminder the desert eats flesh and steel alike, leaving nothing untouched. Jackson found a photo in the sand edge's blackened face, erased. He stared too long, as if he recognized the ghost of someone already lost. Diaz tightened his straps again and again. Click, click, steady rhythm. But once his hand shook and I caught it, he knew I saw. Our canteens lighter each mile, the slosh faint. Every drop mocked us louder than footsteps, counting down hours to thirst's end. A low buzz filled my skull, maybe heat, maybe fear. The world tilted sky swam, and I thought maybe the desert is swallowing me alive. We found tracks deep sharp, not ours, boots maybe, or heavier. They trailed into dunes, then vanished like words cut mid-sentence. Jackson cursed sharp, bitter, his grin, gone eyes darting over sand like it might reveal who or what had left those prints. Diaz crouched low, tracing the tracks with 2 fingers. His scar caught moonlight, and his silence weighed more than explanation ever could. Night bled too fast, sky red, then black. Stars sharp, too close. They didn't shine for us, they watched cold, uncaring. Our fire hissed weak smoke, curling sideways in the wind. Sparks floated like souls, flickering, gone before touching the stars. I dreamed of rivers, cold, endless water. But I woke, choking, mouth full of dust, throat burning from swallowing nothing. Jackson coughed, deep, ragged. He waved it away, but fear flashed in his eyes, there, then gone, like he knew something I didn't. Diaz sharpened his knife, slow, deliberate. The rasp echoed in my head, steel against stone, sounding like steel against bone. I checked my rifle hands, shaking, grip slick. The steel felt heavier, colder, as if it knew before I did what was coming. The wind carried whispers, broken, scattered. I turned, saw only dunes shifting. Shadows moving like men, but no men there. Jackson lit a cigarette flame, trembling in the dark. He inhaled sharp, exhaled smoke, thin as mist, vanishing before it rose. Diaz spoke one word wrong. His voice cracked, the first in hours. That single word landed heavier than silence itself. I turned back, our footprints going. The desert erased them, swallowing our trail whole, as if we'd never existed at all. The moon rose pale hollow. Its light silvered the sand, stretched our shadows longer, arms reaching where they shouldn't. My lips split bled. I licked instinctively tasted copper bitter. The desert was inside me now, it had claimed me. Jackson muttered a prayer, low broken. I didn't know the words, but the sound froze me more than any silence ever had. That was the first crack, not sudden, not loud. A fracture underfoot, quiet, invisible spreading, unstoppable. Dawn came, harsh sun, a white blade cutting the horizon. Our eyes burned, our throats raw. The desert woke angry, and we had no shelter left. Jackson's cough grew worse, chest rattling. He tried to wave it off, but each breath was sharp, ragged, tearing more than air from him. Diaz raised his hand, silence. We froze. Wind hissed over dunes, but beneath it, something else faint low, not ours. Then shots. Echo sharp, cracking across sand. The map didn't say this, no warning. Bullets tore the air sand, spitting at our boots. I dropped flat dust, filling my mouth. Jackson cursed, scrambling. Diaz steadied his rifle, calm, precise, eyes locked. Shadows moved at the ridge, too fast, too many. Figures blurred by heat, shimmer, but real enough when the next volley screamed. My ears rang sharp, endless. Voices shouted, but muffled, drowned under the metallic roar inside my skull. Jackson fired wild, desperate. His rounds vanished into dunes, no targets clear, only smoke and shifting heat. Diaz fired slow, deliberate, crack, pause, crack. Each shot answered, but silence always returned heavier. A scream tore behind me, one of ours gone before I even turned. Dust rose where he fell, but the body was already lost. My throat closed, lungs clawing for breath. The desert silence returned between shots, cruel mocking, like it wanted us dead slow. I crawled, sand scraping, skin, raw hands blistering. My rifle weighed 1,000 pounds, every movement a war. Jackson's eyes wide, wild. He shouted something voice-breaking, pointing at the ridge where shadows swarmed. I saw them, not clear, never clear. Just glimpses, helmets, cloth or nothing human at all. My stomach knotted. Diaz barked a single word, not order, not comfort. Just raw sound dragging me back before panic swallowed me. We ran, no plan, no line, just running sand collapsing under boots, every step slower than the bullets chasing us. The sun beat down, cruel, blinding. My vision blurred, sweat burned my eyes, but stopping meant dying, and dying was everywhere. I heard Jackson choke breath, cut short. I turned, saw him stumble, blood dark on his shirt, spreading fast. Diaz caught his arm, dragged him forward. Jackson gasped, face grey, teeth red. He tried to laugh, it came out a cough. Bullets ripped the ground near us, sand exploding in violent bursts. The desert itself seemed to fight, tearing open at our feet. We reached the wreck of another vehicle, metal blackened, riddled with holes. Diaz shoved us behind it, cover thin as paper. The air shimmered with heat and gunfire. My ears rang chest tight, each breath a fight. Fear drummed louder than shots. Jackson leaned against steel, blood soaking. He whispered something, but I only saw his lips move, my hearing gone. Diaz reloaded, fast, eyes narrow. He nodded once at me, not comfort, just truth fight or die, no in between now. I leaned out, fired blind. My rifle bucked, shoulders screaming. I never knew if I hit sand, swallowed everything. The gunfire stopped, sudden, cut clean. Silence fell again, heavy, suffocating, thicker than smoke, crueler than bullets. My heart pounded so loud, it was all I heard. Jackson slumped, lower eyes, glassy, breath thin. Diaz watched him, jaw clenched. A low sound drifted, not gunfire. A hum, no, wings. It grew closer, heavy like something vast, beating the air. We froze, rifles raised. The sound shook sand loose from wreckage, rattled teeth pressed against my chest like thunder. Shadows swept over us, blotting the sun. I looked up, eyes burning a shape too large, two wrong wings spreading across sky. Jackson moaned, face twisted. His hand reached up, pointing, but his voice broke only a rasp, drowned by the roar. The air bent, heat swirling. Sand whipped up, cutting skin, blinding eyes. The sound grew unbearable inside my skull now. Something screamed, not human. A shriek split the desert, sharp enough to tear through bone. My vision spun black. Jackson convulsed, body shaking, eyes rolled white. Diaz tried to hold him, shouting words lost in the roar. The wreck rattled, metal groaning, like it would split apart. I curled against it, praying it wouldn't peel me open. The shadow circled, slow wings blotting half the sky. Heat dragged down, sand whipped metal groaned. The desert leaned close, waiting. Diaz fired upward flash, lit his scar eyes fierce. Shots cracked sharp, vanished into sky. No cry, no proof, only silence. Diaz grabbed him, shook once, twice, then let go. His silence shattered rage, burning grief, raw eyes, screaming louder than words. I held the map paper damp with sweat and blood. Lines bled, arrows lied, command was gone, desert stripped us to prey and fear. The shadow swept wide wings, tearing light into shards. It vanished in glare, silence, heavy, cruel, my body shook, ears still ringing. All hell had broken loose, and I knew we were inside it now, deeper than orders, deeper than fear. No way out, only survival, or nothing. The desert swallowed our footprints, nothing behind us, nothing ahead. Every step was a question, how much longer could we pretend to stand? Diaz carried Jackson's body until his arms shook, then laid him down gentle as if sleep, but the silence after proved it wasn't sleep at all. I knelt beside him, sand burning my knees. His skin already cold, his eyes still open. I closed them, but they stayed in my mind. Diaz lit Jackson's last cigarette, pressed it to my lips, then his. Smoke bitter choking, we inhaled like sharing the last breath he left. The map was ruined, paper soft with blood. Arrows bled, lines vanished. Orders gone, only sand and silence dictated now. My canteen rattled, empty metal echo hollow. I shook it once, twice. No sound but dust, no hope but thirst. Diaz tore cloth from his sleeve, wrapped it round my hand, skin blistered raw. His eyes said nothing, but his silence bound me. The wind rose high, shrill. It carried whispers, fractured syllables. My ears strained, heart-hammering, but no mouths spoke. Shadows stretched long, too long, reaching across sand. The moon lit us pale, but the dark shapes crawled farther, faster. Diaz crouched, a knife-drawn eyes fixed on horizon. He didn't blink, didn't breathe. His stillness terrified me more than motion. A sound like wings, faint then louder. My teeth ached, skull pulsed. I pressed my palms to ears, but the sound was inside. We buried Jackson, shallow sand, collapsing over him. No words, no prayer, only a mound the wind would erase. Diaz pressed the Zippo into my hand, Jackson's lighter. Metal warm from his palm, a relic, a weight heavier than steel. My legs shook, lungs rattled, I staggered. Diaz caught me, his grip iron. He didn't let go, though I wanted to vanish. The sky bruised purple at dawn, clouds thin broken. Light came weak, stretched thin, as if even the sun feared this place. Flies buzzed over the mound, black dots crawling. My stomach turned, bile rising. Death was never gone, only waiting. Diaz forced water into my mouth, dark, tainted, tasted of rust. I gagged, swallowed anyway because thirst was worse. The hum came again, low, steady. Not wings, deeper, stranger. The sand trembled under our boots as if something massive stirred. Diaz pressed his ear to ground. His face went pale, scar stark. He rose, slow, eyes hollow, shaking his head. No words came. We marched slower now. Each step a prayer, each breath a wound. The horizon never nearer, always shifting, always laughing. My back ached, skin torn, every strap cut deeper. The pack no longer gear, it was a coffin I carried on my shoulders. Diaz stopped, sudden raised his hand. Ahead, wreckage, twisted metal, black smoke, still rising through sky, said it was long gone. We crept closer. Sand, charred, black glass cracked. The air stank of oil and burned flesh. My throat closed, stomach tight. A helmet lay crushed, half buried. I lifted it, sand poured out. Inside, teeth rattled loose, still white, still human. Diaz kicked the helmet away hard. His face stone, his silence iron, but his hands shook when he reloaded his rifle. I touched the wreck skin, blistered. My ears rang with phantom screams, though the desert was silent. My eyes watered, burning. Diaz found a bootlace's torn, blood stiff. He turned it over, stared long. His jaw clenched, but he tossed it away. Night fell, quick stars, sharp too many. The wind died, the silence pressed heavy. I swore I heard breathing, not ours. I clutched Jackson's zipper bow, flicked it once, twice. The flame sputtered weak, but its light carved a small circle of defiance. Diaz sat close, knife in hand, his shadow stretched tall, bent wrong. I stared too long, it moved when he didn't. The whispers returned louder, clearer. My name, no, many names. Voices of men we buried, voices of men still walking. I pressed my palms to ears, eyes shut, whispering no. But silence never returned. The voices crawled inside my skull, laughing. Diaz shook me awake. I hadn't known I slept. His face, pale lips cracked. He pointed at prints circling our fire. Not animal, not boots. Too wide, too deep. They circled once, twice, then vanished into dunes, but something had been close. My stomach knotted, bile sour. Diaz whispered nothing. His silence was answer enough. We weren't alone, never had been. The wind returned sudden. Sand lashed, skin stung eyes. Our fire dyed smoke, rising thin, then gone like it never was. My throat closed air, heavy lungs tight. I coughed hard blood in spit. The desert was inside me now, eating me alive. Diaz grabbed my arm, pulled me close. His eyes wide, scar pale. He whispered one word, run. My legs obeyed before I thought. We stumbled blind into night stars spinning. My breath ragged, heart pounding wrong. Behind us, the sand hissed, shifting alive. That was the darkest hour. Not gunfire, not blood. It was the knowing we were already ghosts, running from something we'd never escape. The gunfire was gone, replaced by a hollow hum in my skull. The silence pressed harder than bullets, heavier than screams ever had. Sand covered everything, prints, blood, wreckage. The desert erased proof we were here, as if it wanted to deny we'd ever lived. Diaz walked ahead, shoulders hunched. His silence spoke louder than words, but it was a silence full of ghosts, not peace. I tried to call Jackson's name, but no voice came. My throat tore dry, cracked, the sound eaten before it left my lips. The air stank of rust, old smoke. I breathed, shallow, lungs tight. Even silence had a taste, bitter, lingering, unforgettable. Every shadow looked wrong, stretched, bent. My eyes ached, chasing shapes that vanished when I blinked, but never left my mind. Diaz handed me his canteen. A drop clung at the rim, one drop, then gone. I tasted nothing, only metal and despair. The sun rose, pale, washed out. Its warmth no longer comfort, only weight pressing down, cooking us slow, relentless. My pack grew heavier, straps biting deeper. It wasn't gear anymore, it was ballast dragging me into the earth. Diaz stumbled, once caught himself, said nothing. His scar shone bright in morning light, like a cut the desert never healed. The silence thickened, not empty, not calm. It was the kind that carries weight, the kind that crushes ribs and slows breath. A vulture circled, high wings, steady eyes fixed. It didn't care if we lived, it knew eventually we'd join its feast. I counted steps, 1, 2, 10, 100. Numbers blurred, became prayer. If I stopped counting, I feared I'd stop walking. Diaz tapped my shoulder, pointed ahead. Nothing there. Maybe he saw, maybe I didn't. His silence gave no answer. My hands shook when I lit Jackson's Zippo. The flame sputtered, weak, small, but it fought darkness harder than I could. The lighter burned out. Smoke curled thin, then gone. Darkness rushed back fast, louder than silence had any right to be. We found no water, no shade, only dunes shifting. Each crest promised relief. Each descent gave nothing but more sand. My lips split open, blood on tongue. I swallowed copper dry, bitter. Even my own body tasted like desert. Diaz's eyes looked hollow, pupils, wide skin gray. He kept walking anyway, silence carrying him farther than strength. I collapsed, once knees buckling. Diaz dragged me up, no words, no comfort, only a shove forward. Keep moving or die. The silence grew teeth. I swore I heard chewing, gnawing, like the desert feasted on us, slow savoring every step. The night came, sudden stars, hard, sharp. The cold cut through me deeper than bullets, rattling bones, freezing blood. Diaz huddled near me, eyes closed but awake. His silence wasn't sleep, it was waiting, listening for something I couldn't hear. I dreamed of rivers, woke with sand between teeth choking. My chest heaved, but no water came, only pain and silence. A single shot echoed far away, faint. Or maybe not real, maybe memory replaying, looping. Either way, the silence grew louder. My boots tore open, skin raw. Every step left blood prints, but wind erased them quick. Even pain had no proof. Diaz handed me his knife. I didn't ask why. His eyes said enough. Steel weighs less than silence, but cuts deeper. The horizon never changed, always shifting, never near. Each mile stretched longer, silence stretching with it, endless. I whispered names, Jackson, others gone. The silence swallowed them whole, no echo, no answer, only weight pressing deeper. That was the silence after, not peace, not rest. Just emptiness, loud and endless, reminding me I was the only one left to hear. I came back, but not whole. My body crossed the desert, my soul stayed buried. Every breath since feels borrowed, stolen, undeserved. Diaz walked with me until he didn't. One night I woke his place beside me, empty prints gone. Silence his only farewell. I searched dunes at dawn, called his name, but the desert ate every syllable. My throat tore, my voice vanished into nothing. Now it's just me walking through memory. The sand is gone, but I still taste it, grit, grinding teeth, dust, clawing lungs. At night I dream of wings, vast, endless. I wake, shaking ears, ringing. Silence after shrieks, still louder than life around me. Jackson's lighter is still in my pocket. I flick it open, flame small, weak, but it burns in my skull brighter than any sun. Sometimes I smell tobacco bittersweet. I turn expecting Jackson's grin, but only shadows remain mocking me. My hands shake when I pour water. I sip slow tongue, searching for metal, for rust, expecting poison, never trusting purity. Crowds scare me more than silence. Voices blur, laughter echoes wrong. I hear Diaz in every pause, every breath not spoken. The map haunts me, still lines bleeding in memory. Arrows leading nowhere. Orders written neat, ending in chaos, always chaos. My chest carries scars unseen, lungs roar from dust, ribs aching from shrieks. Doctors call it nothing. I know it's everything. I stare at shadows too long. They stretch, twist, bend. In the corner of my eye, they move when no one does. My boots sit by the door, cracked blood stiff in leather. I never clean them. They are coffins for each mile of silence. Some nights I swear I hear sand shifting, though I live far from desert. The sound creeps under doors, fills my lungs. People ask what I fought for. I don't answer. I only remember who I lost and how survival feels like betrayal. Diaz's silence was strength, but now it's curse. His absence louder than gunfire, heavier than the desert itself. I write their names in the dirt, sometimes watch wind erase them. Just like then, no one remembers except me. My reflection frightens me, eyes hollow, skin grey. I see the desert staring back, patient, waiting for my return. I carry their faces like weights, Jackson, laughing, Diaz silent. They surface at night, sharper than daylight memories. I flinch at sudden sounds, gunfire, ghosts' wings roaring. Even thunder feels like that scream, returning, tearing marrow apart. Water tastes wrong now, even clean. My tongue waits for rust, for oil. Survival poisoned me long after thirst passed. My ribs ache when I breathe deep, not injury, memory. The desert never left my chest. It drums there, relentless. I touch the scar on my hand, blister from wreckage heat. Skin healed, but the pain returns every time I smell smoke. Sleep is shallow fragments, whispers. I wake, sweating, mouth full of dust, fists clenched on nothing but shadows. I light Jackson's Zippo watch, flame flicker. For a moment, they're with me. Then the flame dies and I'm alone again. I walk streets, hear footsteps behind me. I turn, no one there. Still I know I am followed, always followed. Some say survival is victory. They don't understand survival is debt, endless, unpayable, crushing in every breath. My scars are not on skin. They live in silence, in shadows, in the weight of memories that never let me go. I tell this story so they won't vanish. Each word is a wound reopened, but wounds must bleed or else rot unseen. These are the scars that remain heavier than steel, deeper than bone. I carry them always, because I'm the last one left.